A simple waitress defended a billionaire CEO from police next day. His power shocked her diner. The police officer slammed his hand on the diner table so hard that the coffee spilled across the floor. Every customer went silent. In the corner booth, a tired man in a red hoodie lowered his head as if life had already broken him. But before anyone could turn away, one young waitress stepped forward and did something no one expected. In that single moment, she risked her job, her safety, and the little life she had left to protect a stranger. She had no idea that by the next morning, the man she defended would change her world forever. Before we begin, if you believe kindness still matters and that every person deserves a second chance, please like this video, comment where you are watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories. Emily had worked at the roadside diner for nearly 6 years. She was only 26, but life had already placed heavy years on her shoulders. She worked double shifts, smiled through exhaustion, and carried pain quietly like so many people do. Her father had passed away when she was young, and her mother had become ill not long after. Medical bills had taken everything. Their small house was gone. Their savings had disappeared. What remained was a tiny rented apartment, old furniture, unpaid notices, and Emily's determination to survive. Every morning before sunrise, she would help her mother take medicine, prepare a simple breakfast, then rush to the diner in a worn pair of shoes that had been repaired more than once. She served coffee to truck drivers, office workers, tired travelers, and families who barely noticed her. Some were kind, many were not, but Emily never allowed bitterness to grow inside her. She knew what it felt like to be invisible, and because of that she treated others with warmth. That rainy evening, the diner was busy and loud. Plates clattered, phones rang, and people spoke over one another. Then the police entered with hard steps and sharp eyes. They walked straight toward the man in the red hoodie sitting alone in the back. He looked tired, unshaven, and lost. His shoes were muddy. His hoodie was damp from the rain. To most people, he looked like trouble. The officer accused him of refusing to pay at another restaurant nearby and of causing suspicion in the neighborhood. Customers stared, some whispered. The man tried to explain himself, but no one wanted to hear. Shame covered his face like a shadow. He reached into his pocket slowly, perhaps searching for a wallet, but the officer barked at him to stop moving. Emily felt something painful in her chest. She had seen that look before. It was the look of someone judged before being understood. She stepped between them with trembling hands. Her manager gasped. Customers watched in disbelief. Emily respectfully told the officer that the man had already paid for soup and coffee at her register. She had served him herself. He had thanked her quietly and left a tip larger than the meal. The officer frowned and checked with the cashier. It was true. There had been payment. No crime, no complaint. Only assumptions. Still, the room remained tense. Emily then did one more thing that stunned everyone. She brought the man a warm towel, fresh coffee, and a sandwich she paid for herself. She told him he looked like he had not eaten all day. The officer muttered an apology and left with his partner. Customers returned to their meals, but the mood had changed. Some looked embarrassed. Others looked thoughtful. The man in the red hoodie simply nodded with gratitude. His eyes were tired, but there was something steady inside them, something powerful hidden beneath exhaustion. He finished quietly and left in the storm. Emily thought that was the end of it. The next morning she arrived to chaos. Luxury black cars lined the road outside the diner. Men in suits stood near the entrance. Reporters gathered across the street. Her manager was sweating through his shirt. Staff members whispered in confusion. Then one of the suited men opened the diner door, and the same man in the red hoodie walked inside, but he was transformed. His beard was neatly trimmed. His posture was strong. He wore an elegant tailored coat. The tired stranger from last night now carried the calm presence of someone used to commanding boardrooms and changing markets with a single decision. Every eye in the diner widened. His name was Daniel Carter, founder and CEO of one of the largest technology companies in the country. His face was suddenly recognizable from magazines, interviews, and headlines. Emily had seen his name before, but never imagined this. He walked directly to her. The room held its breath. Daniel explained that he often traveled anonymously to understand how ordinary people were treated, how workers lived, how strangers judged one another, and how real kindness survived in a world obsessed with appearances. Last night, after a painful business betrayal and family disappointment, he had wanted to disappear for one evening and be nobody. Instead, he had found Emily. He said many people respected his money, feared his influence, or wanted favors from him. but almost no one showed kindness when they believed he had nothing. Emily had defended him when she thought he was powerless. That to him meant more than business deals worth millions. Then he asked her a question no one expected. Would she allow him to help her? Emily stood frozen. Pride and pain battled inside her. She had spent years surviving alone. Accepting help felt dangerous. What if it came with conditions? What if it disappeared like everything else? Daniel seemed to understand her silence. He did not offer gifts. He offered opportunities. He had already arranged private treatment for her mother at a respected medical center. He had purchased every overdue debt in her name and erased it legally. He had also created a scholarship program for workers like her who wanted education but never had the chance. Emily burst into tears. No one had asked what she needed in years. They only asked what she could do for them. Days later, her mother received care they had thought impossible. For the first time in years, doctors spoke with hope. Emily visited after work and cried in the hospital hallway, not from sadness, but from relief so deep it felt unreal. Daniel also invited Emily to visit his company headquarters. She expected cold towers and arrogant people. Instead, he showed her teams building tools for schools, hospitals, and communities. He explained that business meant nothing if it forgot people. He surprised her again by offering a training position in community relations. He said she understood people better than many executives because pain had taught her compassion. Emily nearly refused. She feared failure. She feared not belonging. But Daniel reminded her that courage is not the absence of fear. It is walking while afraid, so she accepted. The first months were difficult. She struggled with computers, formal meetings, and polished people who spoke in numbers and strategies. Some judged her past. Some mocked her diner experience quietly. But Emily had survived hunger, grief, and humiliation. Office discomfort could not defeat her. She studied late at night after caring for her recovering mother. She learned software systems, communication methods, and leadership principles. She asked questions others were too proud to ask. Slowly, people stopped underestimating her. Her greatest strength was simple. She remembered what ordinary people felt. When customers complained, she listened instead of defending policy. When workers felt ignored, she noticed. When communities needed support, she pushed the company to act. Profits still mattered, but people mattered too. Within a year, Emily became one of the most respected voices in the company. Meanwhile, Daniel changed as well. Years of power had made him distant. Success had surrounded him with masks. Emily's honesty reminded him of the person he once hoped to be before wealth complicated everything. He began spending more time funding scholarships, worker wellness programs, and local businesses struggling to survive. One afternoon, Daniel asked Emily to return with him to the old diner. They entered quietly. The same tables stood there. The same coffee scent filled the air. The manager who once feared losing customers now nearly dropped a tray in shock. Daniel announced he had purchased the property, not to close